So bedding, either one, they sell it here at D&B. And cleaning, again, you know, the question about the brooder box. We're all going to have different numbers of chickens, right? And we're all going to have different sizes of coops. So I always say if you stick your head in and it smells worse inside than it does outside, it's time to clean your coop. Easy rule of thumb. Okay, I think we covered that. Be creative with your ideas for chicken coops. Yeah, do you know what that is? Do y'all know what that is? Can you tell? It's a bathroom vanity. It's an all upside down bathroom vanity. So this would be the top part up here, right there. That drawer was just turned right. So he did it upside down. He put these faces on, took the drawers out and just used the faces, glued them down. This guy was on the Coop tour 4 or 5 years ago here in Boise, up on Cole Road. That's a barred rock chicken. And he has 2 of them and they live in there. And he just pushes that drawer in, the girls go in, lay their eggs, and that's where they spend their evenings, right in there. And don't you love the shutter? I think the shutter's great. He said he got this stuff back at St. Vincent de Paul, you know, on State Street, where you go in the back and you pay $5 for stuff. Yeah, so be creative. You know, the sky's the limit. You're only limited by your imagination. These guys are great. Yeah, the flockers, population 4. Don't you love that? The Benions, they're so cute. They had a dog and then he died of old age and they wanted chickens and they went through a fight in Iowa and they had to fight for the right to keep chickens. And so RD built this chicken tractor. And the idea is you pull up these stabilization jacks. Isn't that great? Look at and the little lamp too, I just love it. And everything's hanging here, so it's real easy. So the girls go in here at night. You don't ever have to corral your girls and put them to bed. The old saying, chicken comes home to roost, they do that because it's a survival instinct. So they're going to go in at night all by themselves, and so they pull up the stakes and they move it one length down. And so that part of the lawn benefits from their aeration, right? The chickens aerating it, fertilizing it, and then they get any kind of bugs that are there as well. You just have to remember to move it every day, right? And there's a new company here in Boise that is letting you try before you buy, and they have chicken tractors and chickens that they're renting this summer. Yeah, cool, huh? Channel 7 did a story on them, and I talked about it a little bit. So that's a really fancy chicken tractor. This is a really simple one. And you'll see these sometimes. These are not cold hardy, okay? We couldn't have these in Boise. It's just not warm enough. But Landsake Farms in Weston, Massachusetts, they're kind of like the Idaho Botanical Garden, and they rent chickens. So they'll put in 2 Buff Orpingtons. These, I want to say they're Dominiques, but Buff Orpingtons are the big yellow chickens, kind of waddle like this, and they get really big, and they're really docile. So if you have kids, little kids, an Orpington is a good chicken to have because they're very friendly. Sometimes they can get broody though. They'll want to set on some eggs. Anyway, they deliver this contraption, the waterer, the feeder, all the food, and 2 hens to a backyard, and a fenced backyard, and then the person writes the check and they're off, right? And the idea is you keep them here for a day, you pick up this end and this end, pick it up when they're inside, and you move it either one length down or one width over, right? And then at the end of the month when they go to pick up the chickens, because they've had them for a month, they go to the pit and they get in their pickup and they drive over to the house, and there's mom, she's loving the chickens, the kids have them like this because they're so friendly, and dad's just writing another check. So they said it's a great program, great program. Okay, a coop with a cool factor. Just some ideas for you. I taught, my husband and I actually taught art in the Meridian School District. They don't have any art specialists for the grade schools. So for 12 years, we were art parents. And when I saw this coop, I said, who is it? I'm thinking Andrew Lloyd Webber. That's the musician, right? Frank Lloyd Wright. Thank you. I've got allergies big time, and so the words don't come to me. Frank Lloyd Wright. Doesn't it look like Frank Lloyd Wright there? The design? Well, it's actually an architect fellow in Portland, Oregon, and he said all of the materials he used was from left over from a kitchen remodel. And he has a garden on top. Isn't that nice? Yeah. And then the girls go out here, and he says sometimes he'll let them free range if he's home, but they're happy chickens. I'm chicken sitting for a lady in the North End, and I just went over to her place yesterday. And this is the setup that they have, and I loved it. She did everything right. I gave her a book. I said, you get a gold star, because she has plenty of ventilation here. She has a little run off of this side right here, and then she thought, I want to give them some more room. So she fashioned a little door over here, and the girls can walk over there, and then she calls this the Chunnel here. And then they just go there and then back into that area too. So they have a contained area where they can just go hog wild on scratching and pecking and all that stuff. So if you want to contain your girls, because God is my witness, my husband did not like the fact that the chickens would poop everywhere. On the hot tub, on the patio furniture, on the patio, everywhere. And if it was in the sun for any length of time in the summertime, gnarly. It was awful. So there's another picture of the Chunnel. And these you just pick up and move. But they're going to redo their lawn, and she wanted to keep them contained. And I thought that was such a great idea. And now you can kind of see the area. Yeah, so here's the other thing. We had a coop in our backyard the whole time. Remember these Costco play centers? I'm sure y'all have seen them. We've got the swings and the slide and the little area where you do the sandbox. My husband enclosed the bottom part of the sandbox. Yeah. And then if you go around the back, you flip open the door. There's the roost, the food, the laying, the nest box, etc., etc. I'll pass that around so you can take a look at it. So look in your yard, your own yard, and see if you have something, because you may very well have something that's not being used. Our kids were, 12 and older at that point, and they weren't using it anymore. But no one knows it's a chicken coop. So it's pretty cool. So when you're getting your coops, in our climate, they need to have a wide roost, the girls, in the wintertime. And the reason I say that is that you want the girls to jump up and just, Gretchen, how high do I need to put the roost? About 18 inches, depending on your birds, 12 to 18 inches up from the floor, depending on where your floor is. And then you can go with another one even higher. The chickens like to go up high because, again, it's a survival instinct. They like to roost on the highest part because they think that predators won't get them that way. Make sense? So if you have big birds like an Orpington or a Brahma, those are big chickens, you may want to lower it just a little bit, okay? Because those big girls can't jump up the 18 inches. So put it down to about 12. So the 2x4 oriented on the forest side, what you want them to do is jump up on the roost, splay out their toes, and bring their feathers down over their toes in the wintertime. You don't want this sort of thing, okay, on a round owl or something like that, because they'll bring their feathers and this much will be showing. You'll have a little humidity. It'll attach to those toes and you'll have frostbitten toes in the wintertime, okay? So 2x4 is the best. I do not recommend heat lamps, not at all. And I said, Gretchen, practice what you preach. And I have one chicken. And you know what? I would never recommend that, but there are some extenuating circumstances with Hedwig. She's a pet and she'll live out a nice long life. And she's just one bird. And usually these birds kind of buddy up and keep each other warm, right? She's one. I don't heat her coop. And you know how cold it got this winter, right? And last winter. She's fine. I don't heat them. Also, you see wild birds all the time flying around, right? They're fine. You just have to watch out for their combs, their wattles, and their toes. Okay? No heat lamps. By the way, back up. I also have a Google alert for coop fire. And I get one, in the wintertime, I get about one every 2 weeks from around the country. Mm-hmm.